2016. No, we do not cut funds for the University of Puerto Rico. The 50 states, you are seeing same type things, cuts to public education. No, on the contrary, because we know how important a well-educated population is to the future of the country. We have got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. The main point that I want to make is that throughout history, and I know you know this very well, real change never occurs from the top on down. It always occurs from the bottom on up. When workers 100 years ago were forced to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, they stood up, they fought back, and they formed trade unions which protected the rights of all working people. And I want to thank the members of the CWA who are here tonight. Stand up. They are right now in a struggle with Verizon. They're on strike. Verizon wants to outsource jobs, wants to cut their health care benefits at the same time as they pay their CEO, I think, $18 million a year. All right. So, thank you, CWA, for standing up and fighting back. And when we talk about how change comes about, all of you know that in the midst of the abomination of slavery, there were African Americans and their allies risking their lives, sometimes getting killed or going to jail or getting beaten or losing their job. We will not have a racist, bigoted society. Years ago in the United States, women did not have the right to vote, could not get the education or the jobs they wanted. But women stood up and they fought back. Ten years ago, nobody would have believed that gay marriage would be legal in every state in the country. But that happened not because of a conservative Supreme Court. It happened because the gay community and their straight allies stood up and fought for equality. So here is my point, and it's a simple point and it's a truthful point. The only way that real change ever takes place, whether it is the crisis here in Puerto Rico today or many other major issues facing this world, is when people stand up, do not allow themselves to be divided by race or color or where they were born, when they stand together and demand social justice, economic justice, racial justice, and environmental justice. Let me say a few words, if I might, on some of the very serious problems facing Puerto Rico today. Since 2006, Puerto Rico has lost 20% of its jobs. About 60% of Puerto Rico's adult population are either unemployed or have given up looking for work. Over the last 5 years alone, 5 years, more than 150 public schools have been shut down, and the childhood poverty rate on the island is now 57%. That is unacceptable. In the midst of this terrible human and economic crisis, it is morally repugnant that we are seeing vulture funds on Wall Street demanding, billionaires on Wall Street demanding that Puerto Rico fire teachers, close schools, cut pensions, and abolish the minimum wage. These people really have no shame. It is really from a human point of view. And I see this. Don't think this is just Puerto Rico. It is not. We're seeing this all over. These people who have billions of dollars, they can leave money to their families for 100 generations, and yet they seem intent on wanting more and more and more, and they do not care about the suffering they leave in their greed. We have got to make it clear, and as president, I certainly will make it clear that these billionaire hedge fund managers cannot and will not have it all. These vulture funds today are getting interest rates of 34% on tax-exempt bonds that they purchased for 29 cents on the dollar. It has been estimated that as much as half of Puerto Rico's debt is owned by these vulture funds. Our position, my position, is crystal clear. These vulture capitalists will not receive 100% return on their investments. They will not get 100% return on their investments while children in Puerto Rico go hungry. Puerto Rico's debt must be restructured. Puerto Rico must be given the time it needs to grow its economy, to create jobs. I absolutely 100% reject austerity politics. Instead of hurting people even more when they are down, we have got to give them the resources to rebuild the economy and rebuild their tax base. There is no way that the economic situation in Puerto Rico will improve by eliminating more public schools, by slashing pensions, by laying off workers, or by allowing corporations to pay workers starvation wages by eliminating the minimum wage. As many of you remember, 8 years ago, Congress and the Federal Reserve acted with a fierce sense of urgency to bail out Wall Street and the largest financial institutions in this country that were considered too big to fail. That's right. There was a fierce sense of urgency. Congress worked morning, noon, and night to save the giant banks on Wall Street whose greed and illegal behavior nearly destroyed the economy. If Congress had a fierce sense of urgency to bail out Wall Street, they need double that sense of urgency to help the people of Puerto Rico. As part of the Wall Street bailout, the Treasury Department provided $700 billion to virtually every major financial institution in America. But more than that, not widely known, the Federal Reserve provided over $16 trillion in virtually zero interest loans to not only every major financial institution in the United States, but central banks and corporations all over the world. If the Federal Reserve could work overtime to protect the interests of Wall Street, it can certainly help the 3.5 million American citizens in Puerto Rico improve its economy. Today, I am calling on the Fed to use its emergency authority under Section 13(3) of the Federal Reserve Act to pave the way for an orderly restructuring of Puerto Rico's debt. Moreover, it seems to me that we need an independent audit of Puerto Rico's debt. If this audit determines that any of Puerto Rico's debt was incurred in violation of Puerto Rico's Constitution, that debt must be immediately set aside. I believe that Congress should act immediately to give Puerto Rico the same authority granted to every municipality in the United States to restructure its debt under the supervision of a bankruptcy court. Further, let us be clear. The Republican plan in Congress to establish an unelected oversight board, a control board, that would give the power, that would be given the power to slash pensions, cut education and health care, and increase taxes on working families is not the answer and must be opposed. I mentioned a moment ago my belief that if we want to improve the economy here in Puerto Rico and all over the United States, we need to rebuild our infrastructure. The plan that I have poured forth, $1 trillion over 5 years, paid for by eliminating corporate tax loopholes, would create over 150,000 good-paying jobs here in Puerto Rico. This plan would allow Puerto Rico to address its crumbling roads and bridges, improve its ports, upgrade its drinking water and wastewater plants, and fortify flood control projects. It would also improve public education, public transportation within its major cities. Importantly, it would modernize Puerto Rico's antiquated electric grid to end rolling blackouts, and make it easier with a new grid to integrate new solar and wind installations. No community in this day and age can thrive without a modern high-speed internet system and without affordable broadband, and this legislation would enable Puerto Rico to move forward in that direction. Now, I don't want to claim to be an expert on Puerto Rico in general or on energy within Puerto Rico, but I do not understand why on this island where you have so much sunshine, why you have so much wind, it is hard for me to imagine why you're spending a fortune importing fossil fuel to this island. You know, I'm not an expert, but I have a feeling somebody's making a lot of money on that deal. Now, we have introduced, as president, what I will tell you is that all of you know that climate change is real, and it is already causing massive problems throughout the world, and climate change is caused by human activity. That's a fact. And I believe that we have a responsibility to our children and future generations to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable. And I believe that for this island, what an extraordinary opportunity you have to save substantial sums of money and have less expensive electricity. And to help this world combat climate change by moving away from fossil fuel to solar, wind, geothermal. And we've got legislation in that would help Puerto Rico in a very significant way to do that. Now, I understand that the people of Puerto Rico quite legitimately feel that they are now existing in a colonial status. And if I were sitting where you were sitting, and I was reading that in the United States Congress there were plans to create a control board to make terrible decisions for the island, and you had nothing to say about that, I also would feel that I was in a colonial situation. In my view, it is time for the people of Puerto Rico to be allowed to take charge of their political future. And for the United States of America to redefine its legal relationship with the people of the island. The people of Puerto Rico must be empowered to determine their own destiny. Now, I understand, I don't claim to be an expert on Puerto Rican politics, but I do know there are divisions of opinion on where the island might go. Is that correct? Yeah. Some people want independence. Some people want statehood. And there are some who may want to redefine and change the nature of the Commonwealth relationship. All right, but here is my point. My point is that where Puerto Rico goes in terms of its political status is not my decision, it is your decision. And my promise to you is that during my first year as president, the people of Puerto Rico will have the right to vote on a binding referendum that will allow them to make that choice. Now, I have been here in Puerto Rico. We got in last night. So I've been here for less than a day, but I have heard a great deal of concern from many, many people about the fate of Oscar Lopez Rivero. Oscar Lopez Rivero is one of the longest serving political prisoners in history. He has been in prison for more than 34 years, longer than Nelson Mandela was in prison in South Africa. Oscar Lopez Rivero is 73 years of age now, and as I understand it, his health is deteriorating. We are talking about a man who is a Vietnam War veteran, who was awarded the Bronze Star, one of the most distinguished awards. There is right now a petition that is widely supported in Puerto Rico. It is also supported by the AFL-CIO, by Coretta Scott King, the widow of Martin Luther King Jr., by President Jimmy Carter, by 10 Nobel Prize laureates, by the United Methodist Church, the Episcopal Church of Puerto Rico, the Catholic Archbishop of San Juan, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and a number of political leaders in Latin America and the Caribbean. That petition is also supported by me. Oscar Lopez Rivera has done his time he must be given a chance to enjoy his remaining years in freedom and with his family and friends. The truth of the matter is, and I say this to every audience I speak to, it's an unpleasant truth, but it is a real truth, is that we are moving closer and closer to an oligarchic form of society. And do you all know what I mean by that? What I mean by that is economically we are seeing handfuls of multi-billionaires control huge segments of our economy. We are seeing politically in the United States billionaires spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who will represent the wealthy and the powerful. And the only antidote to that movement toward oligarchy is a political revolution when millions of people stand up and fight back. It is true that Wall Street has unlimited amounts of money. Unlimited amounts of money. They spent billions of dollars to get deregulated. They can spend as much money as they want politically to accomplish any goal that they want. It is true that corporate America can shut down plants here in Puerto Rico and move to China tomorrow. It is true that the corporate media will tell us what corporate America wants us to know. It is true that wealthy campaign contributors have enormous impact over the political life of the nation. All of that is true, but there is another and deeper truth that history attests to. And that is when people are prepared to stand up and fight back, we can accomplish anything. This campaign is not just about electing Bernie Sanders for president, it is about transforming our lives. On June 5th, there is going to be a very important Democratic primary here in Puerto Rico. And I know that I'm running against somebody who is widely known throughout the island. I know that we've got an uphill battle, but with your support and the support of the people of the island, Puerto Rico can go on record as saying that we need a political revolution to transform America. Thank you all very much. Thank you.